Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So, the past decade from 2015 to 2025 has been a transformative era for the automotive industry, marked by the rapid shift towards electric vehicles. What began as a niche pursuit by startup and environmental advocates has evolved into a global revolution, driven primarily by Tesla's bold innovation and the Chinese strategic industrial policies. Traditional automakers, once dominant with internal combustion engine vehicles, have been forced to adapt or risk obsolescence. This period saw electric car sales rocket from a mere 0.1% of global new vehicle sales in 2015 to over 18% by 2024, according to the International Energy Agency. The catalyst? Tesla's entry into the market with affordable EVs, which not only popularized EVs but also ignited a fierce competition, particularly in China, where the government bet big on electrification to leapfrog Western rivals. In this video, we will explore some of the key events, innovations, and geopolitical shifts that defined the industry over the last 10 years. We'll dive into Tesla's disruptive role, its pivotal investment in China, and how that sparked the EV revolution there. We'll also examine the meteoric rise of the Chinese automakers, their aggressive expansion into Europe, and historical missteps like General Motors' infamous EV1 program that allowed others to seize the lead. Drawing from industrial reports, sales data, and expert analysis, the story reveals a sector where speed and scale, once separate strengths, have converted in unexpected ways, challenging legacy players and reshaping global trade. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So, Tesla's impact on the automotive world cannot be overstated. Founded in 2003 by engineer Martin Eberhard and Mark Tapenny, the company gained prominence under Elon Musk's leadership starting in 2008. By 2015, Tesla was already a symbol of EV innovation, but the past decades truly showcased its disruptive power. The launch of the Model 3 in 2017 was a game changer. Priced around $40,000, it made EVs accessible to the masses, allowing Tesla to sell over 500,000 EVs in total globally by 2020. The Model 3, with its 353 miles of range and rapid acceleration, proved that electric cars could outperform gas-powered ones in speed and efficiency, shifting consumers' perspective from golf cart on steroid to a high-performance machine. The first performance version was tested out by Top Gear, where it even beat the old benchmark for sports sedan, the BMW M3. Tesla's strategy was multi-phased. Unlike traditional automakers relying on dealership network, Tesla sold directly to customers, built its own supercharger network, and integrated over-the-air software updates, features that are becoming industry standard but many legacy automakers struggle to do even today here in 2025, as most of them have over 100 software suppliers, so making an over-the-air update is not a small feat for the old boys that do not know how to do it themselves. But by 2020, Tesla's market capitalization surpassed that of Ford, GM, and Fiat Chrysler combined, and today is valued over $1.4 trillion as of writing this. This financial muscle allowed massive investment in battery technology, accumulating in their Gigafactories network. The first Gigafactories in Reno, Nevada opened in 2016, producing lithium-ion cells that reduce cost by 30% per kilowatt-hour by 2020. Subsequent factories in New York in 2017, Shanghai in 2019, Texas in 2021, and Germany in 2022 scaled production capacity to 2 million vehicles annually. The ripple effect were profound. Tesla's success pressured legacy automakers to accelerate EV programs. Volkswagen, reeling from its 2015 Dieselgate scandal, pledged $30 billion for electrification by 2025, launching its ID.3 in 2020. Delayed because of software issue, and even had to take some of them back as some customers' ID.3 simply didn't work properly. And Volkswagen ended up on national TV in Denmark as well, pressured about their premature ID push out to customers to try to not get big fines for not reaching their emission target in Europe. Ford and GM followed suit with their Ford Mustang Mach-E in 2020 and GM's Ultium battery platform announced in 2020 as well. Globally, BEV sales grew from 400,000 in 2015 to 12 million in 2024, and EVs, including hybrids, grew to 17 million per International Energy Agency's data, with Tesla accounting for about 15% of the BEV market in 2024. However, Tesla's path wasn't smooth. Production hell for the Tesla Model 3 in 2019, and quality issues highlighted the challenge of scale. Yet by 2023, Tesla's Model Y had become the world's best-selling car, underscoring its role in mainstream EVs and cars in general. To understand the past decade's EV boom, it is essential to revisit earlier failures that squandered opportunities. In the 1990s, amid California's zero-emission vehicle mandate, GM developed the EV1, a groundbreaking battery electric car leased from 2096 to 2099. The EV1 was revolutionary. Aerodynamic design, regenerative braking, and a top speed of 80 miles per hour with 140 miles of range on nickel-metal hybrid batteries. It pioneered technologies like heat pump climate control and electro-hydraulic steering, many of which persist in modern EVs today. Over 1,100 units were leased, mostly in California and Arizona, and leases raved about its reliability and zero-maintenance appeal. Yet, GM crushed nearly all EV1s in 2003 after leases ended, citing high cost of $50,000 plus per unit, but probably more the $1 billion they spent on the whole development and getting it to production. But they of course also blamed battery limitations. This decision, dramatized in the 2006 documentary Who Killed the Electric Car, was influenced by oil industry lobbying, battery supply issues, and relaxed zero-emission vehicle mandate in 2003. Critics argue GM lost a massive lead. Had it persisted, GM could have dominated EVs 2 decades earlier. Instead, the EV1's demise reinforced skepticism, allowing Japanese firms like Toyota with the Prius hybrid to come in 1997, and later Tesla to fill the void. This history loomed large in the 2010s when Tesla launched the Roadster in 2008, achieving over 200 miles per charge. It echoed the EV1's promise, but with lithium-ion batteries and a sports car's ethos. By 2015, as global concerns about climate change and oil dependence grew, the stage was set for EVs to resurgence. The Paris Agreement in 2015 and falling battery prices from about $1,000 per kilowatt hour in 2010 to just $132 per kilowatt hour in 2021 accelerate the shift, and the price is still dropping and energy density is still rising. EVs might have come a long way, but they are only getting started. But Tesla's entry into China was a masterstroke that not only boosted its growth but revolutionized the world's largest auto market. In 2018, amid US and China trade tensions, Tesla announced a Shanghai Gigafactory, the first wholly foreign-owned auto plant in China, bypassing the usual 50-50 joint venture requirement. Construction began in January 2019 and production started by December the same year, a record 11 months. The government offered a 50% corporate tax rate versus the 25% standard and a land use right for 50 years, viewing Tesla as a catchfish to stimulate domestic competition. China's bet on EVs date back to 2009 with subsidies, tax breaks, and procurement contracts fostering homegrown brands like BYD. By 2015, EVs was 1% of sales, but Tesla's arrival made them cool. And Tesla imported initially 50,000 units in 2019, but by 2020, local production ramped up, and in 2024, Tesla hit 650,000 units sold in China, ramping up a whole Volvo company in just 4 years. Very impressive. This partnership with the Chinese government aligned with China's goal of 40% new energy vehicle sales by 2030, but the rise happened much faster than they could have anticipated. That 2030 goal was already met in March 2024, 6 years early. The Chinese auto industry rose so fast that I don't even think everyone has even realized it today, as there has been a 16 million unit market shift over the last 5 years, from 2020 to 2025. Western brand has lost 7 million units in China, while Chinese firm grew overseas, exporting 4 million vehicles in 2023, becoming the biggest exporters of cars, beating the Germans and the Japanese for the first time. And in 2024, China exported 6 million cars, and they just exported 750 million units in July 2025, making them hit an annual export capacity of 9 million units. So Western brand lost from 2020 to 2024 7 million in China, and it seems to be on the way to lose 9 million units overseas to China as well. So that is why I'm saying we have been seeing a 16 million units shift in the market that I don't think many people are aware of. But Tesla withstood that trend of the Western brand in China and grew in the same period from 50,000 to 650,000, getting a firm foothold in the world's biggest car market, making Tesla as big an automaker in unit sales in China as Audi in 2024. As provided in Michael Dawn's Inside newsletter, Monster Speed, Monster Scale, Chinese push deeper into Europe. In the good old days, automakers chose speed or scale. GM and Volkswagen dominated with size, and Honda and Mazda with agility. Never had the industry faced a competitor that was both George Foreman and Sugar Ray Leonard. Never, that is, until now. Chinese vehicle export flooded Europe and over 100 countries. In July 2025 alone, they hit 750,000 units in export, an annual run rate of 9 million, unprecedented in the car industry. Again, that was 9 million. At the IAA Mobility 2025 in Munich, 14 Chinese automakers and over 100 suppliers showcased their prowess, leaving observers like Michael Dawn to say, "Walk in the giant halls, this match may be over before it even begins." The growth was staggering. In 2020, China exported just 1 million cars, trailing Japanese 4 million. Legacy exports like Germany and Japan stagnated or even declined. By 2023, China overtook them with 4 million units in export. The biggest news of the year. In 2024, they hit 6 million, and by mid-2024, as I said, in July, they hit 750,000, so a projected 9 million annually. No German or Japanese exporter have ever scaled like this. People don't grasp the magnitude. Over 5 years, China grew export from basically nothing to 9 million, while wresting 7 million domestic units from the Western brand. A bloody battle. Total shift, 16 million units, rival the entire US market, second largest after China. China production became a powerhouse, ousting Western brand at home while conquering abroad. In Europe, China brand captured over 11% BEV market share by 2025. Despite EU tariffs, the European automakers can only watch as the Chinese invasions come, as they are already at 11% BEV market share, but will start in 2025 with local production by BYD in Hungary and Chery in Spain. So, will the Germans, Italians and the France mount a comeback? Well, BMW, Mercedes and Volkswagen unveiled EVs like the iX3 and the GLC Electric at the AII, boosting a 443-mile range and AI integration. Yet the Chinese firm's cost advantage, 30% cheaper assembly and tech, pose a threat. Europe's CO2 targets, like 50% reduction by 2025 to 2027, and subsidized locals, but Chinese going global via joint ventures like Audi Audi's SAIC E5 and supply chains like CATL's Hungary factory deepens the ties. But the decade wasn't just Tesla and China. Dieselgate eroded trust in ICE vehicles, boosting EVs. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 disrupted supply chain but accelerated digital sales and remote work, favoring EVs. U.S. Inflation Reduction Act offered $7,500 credit. Recycling battery materials like we see from Wetwood Materials and Giga Casting will reduce cost even further in the future, and other challenges we have seen in the last decades include chip shortages and mineral dependency, like we saw with lithium price spikes 500% in 2022. But the past decade's EV shift, propelled by Tesla's innovation and China's scale, has redefined autos. From the EV1 ashes to Shanghai's Gigafactory, lessons in persistence pays off. As Chinese exports flood Europe and globals adapt, the industry faces a future of electrification, autonomy, and sustainability. Legacy players must innovate or fade. The fuse is lit, but the monster speed and scale, China and Tesla hold the edge. The road ahead promises cleaner, smarter, and safer mobility for all. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.